you for joining. This is a labor of love because not only are we celebrating these phenomenal Black Boudoir photographers, we are also celebrating their clients because they put forth the effort to say, I am nominating these people because they are amazing. And so, I started laughing at Brianne. And so with that being said, what we are going to do is it's going to be a little different than what we had last year because you all are here. But what I'm going to do is go through each of your names, and I want to show you that you are the face of boudoir, what that means. And also you're going to be able to see how people see you, how you are a reflection, your work is a reflection of you and how you are putting your best foot forward and what that makes these women, these people who show up at your doorstep, how that makes them feel. And so I hope that with this, you are able to see year after year that what you do definitely makes a difference, not just in the boudoir community, but also for the clients that you see every year. And some of them even said, I've come back year after year because this person makes me feel this way. And so as we get started, I'm going to minimize myself because it ain't about me, it's about y'all. And we are going to begin. So who is the face of boudoir? And we are going to be starting with, this is the face of boudoir. We're going to be starting with Nicole Griffin, and she is from the DMV. And if you are not in this area, you don't know what the DMV is. This is the District of Columbia, Maryland, as well as Virginia. Doesn't include Baltimore, but we're not going to go there. But that is what the DMV is. And so starting with, what are people saying? People are saying that Nicole is fantastic. She is insanely talented. She has a keen eye and she is a revolutionary. Nicole is fantastic. And I'm going to be reading like this, like I read to my nieces and nephews. She is the most positive person I know and insanely talented. I appreciate her approach to boudoir, her attention to detail, and her ability to inspire and grow confidence in her clients. I have had 3 shoots with her, and I keep coming back because of her ability to take a picture that celebrates me and my beauty while still being able to recognize myself. Doing my first shoot with her has literally retrained my brain and how I look at myself. And we're not done because we have 3 more things that people are saying about you that shape how you made them feel. Nicole's perspective in her work, body positivity, is revolutionary. Her session was the first step in helping me see myself in a new, beautiful light. She answered every question I had and encouraged me. Her process of prepping clients included meditation, stretching, and daily affirmations. Her work was mentally one of the best things I have ever, well, I'm gonna put ever because I'm gonna say ever, experienced for myself. And I was inspired afterward for months. And every time I see my photos, Nicole is a phenomenal photographer. She is so incredibly kind and made me feel comfortable throughout my entire session. Nicole's image quality is one of the best I've seen. Nicole has a keen eye, instills confidence and comfort in her clients, and possesses the unique ability to make all aspects of the female and male form, even the scars, skin discoloration, stretch marks, etc., appear beautiful and worthy of admiration. Simply put, she makes the imperfect perfect and deserves to be honored for her gift. Now, before we go to the next person, Nicole, I'm going to give you time, space to say anything you would like to say before we go to our next person.
Okay, that's a lot.
I do have questions later on.
Not to cry first. You know, I actually just booked my cousin as a client literally like right before I did this today. And she asked me, how did I get started in this? And why did I get started in this? And like, my business was created out of a terrible situation. I had a really bad breakup and he told me everything that he thought was wrong with me, physically, like personality wise, etc. And that put me in a serious depression spiral. one, we were in COVID, and that was very isolating. And then two, just hearing everything that he said was very devastating to me at the time. And to now be out of that and many years removed from that situation, feeling much better and more confident about myself because of boudoir, and because of me helping my clients, because every single client that comes in also helps me and reaffirms what I'm doing and what my purpose is. I am now at a point where I can say I'm grateful for him for breaking up with me, because if he had not done that, I would literally not be here. So I appreciate him pushing me into my purpose and into this mission. And I appreciate the people who see that mission and see my purpose every single day, and who give their time, their effort, their hard-earned money into me so I can help pour it back into them. So thank you.
Yes. All right, we are ready for our next phenomenal photographer. This is the face of boudoir. And if you don't know who this beautiful woman is, you should. Brianne Daul is from Morris County, New Jersey. It's Boonton. Boonton. I always get it wrong.
Boonton. The N is silent.
The N is silent. See, it's like knife. It's knife. I got you.
Yes,
I got
exactly. Not knife.
And so here is what people have to say about who you are. You are the sweetest, remarkable, best hype woman. You are amazing. Brianne continues to inspire and welcome every person to feel like they are exactly who they want to be inside and outside her studio. There is nothing she won't do to be sure the most marginal person feels a sense of community and belonging by choosing her as their photographer. It is wonderful to see her continue to share so many stories of people who would have never considered doing this until they met her. The transformation is always more than the outfits, hair, makeup, lighting, or touch-ups. It is authentic beauty inside and out that radiates from every client she books. She is exactly who should be the face of leadership in this field, as she respects and cares more than anyone else about the meaningfulness and dignity in every portrait. Here is the why. This is why people nominated you. Her entire portfolio is a celebration of women loving their bodies, and the photographs are stunning. She's more than just a boudoir photographer, though, because she delivers an experience for each and every client. Every client walks away with a love of themselves and their body. The self-doubt and critiques they walk through the door with melt away throughout the day. Most days end with tears of joy as her clients realize they really are beautiful and sexy. They leave with a greater sense of self-worth and confidence. It is not just a photo shoot with Brianne, it's life-changing. She is an absolutely amazing woman and photographer, and she made my very first boudoir experience memorable, and I will definitely be doing another one with her. Women have endured so much guilt and body shame that hating what we see in the mirror became so normalized. What Brianne has done completely destroys what women have been taught about their bodies and how they view themselves. She is remarkable, creating confidence one click at a time. The floor is yours, Mama.
I'm gonna cry. Who wants this? Oh my God. That's so beautiful. I'm honored. Alicia, I love that you always give us space to give us our flowers. So I'm always grateful to you in any capacity, pushing all of us to be better. And I'm so grateful always to be in your orbit. So thank you again for this amazing opportunity. And all of that is beautiful. I hate saying what we do or what I do is work, because work to me should be boring or like a chore and something you have to do. But this is something that I feel like I was meant to do. And I'm so grateful that it came to me when it did. I didn't realize how many things I had sacrificed as a mother, as a wife, and putting myself secondary. And until I put myself at the forefront, until that moment happened, I didn't realize the importance of it. And now when I have women coming in and I'm pushing them to put themselves first, it's a reward at the end of the day. So just as Nicole said, you know, they're pouring into us as much as they're pouring back into us or into them. And I'm just so glad that I'm here. Shooting Black bodies, Black women, all bodies. I want everyone to feel seen when they look at my portfolio. I want everyone to feel welcome when they come into the studio. I want everyone to know that they are deserving of love and acceptance and beauty and sexiness. And I am just so grateful that I found what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I just don't want to ever stop. I'll probably be in my 90s still doing this, popping that booty and, you know, fixing wedgies and stuff. I love it. I love it so much. Thank you.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here for it. Listen, could you imagine in the nursing homes? Like, yeah, go ahead,
Yes.
put that, get that.
Yes. I think about retirement all the time. I'm like, that's not a thing. I'll be here forever. That's all I want to do. This is all I want to do, creating beautiful art. And I just never want to stop. I can't imagine ever stopping, even going into education. Like I always thought that would be end game, but I can't imagine not creating. So yay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we have, this is the face of Boudoir, Latoya Dixon Smith of Greenville, South Carolina. I don't even know if she's in here yet. I hope she is, so she can hear the words that people say about her. I am honored to nominate Latoya for Top Black Boudoir Photographer of 2026 with Coterie Noir. I've had the pleasure of witnessing Latoya's work up close through our collaborations as I provide hair and makeup for her clients during their sessions. From the moment a client walks in, it's clear that her process is rooted in intention, care, and empowerment. Latoya doesn't simply photograph women. She creates experiences that allow them to see themselves fully, confidently, and unapologetically. Her sessions go beyond capturing beautiful or sexy images. She pours into her clients, builds them up, and creates a safe space for self-exploration, healing, and confidence. The energy in the room is transformative. So much so that even as a collaborator, I leave feeling uplifted and affirmed. Being present in her sessions has poured into me just as much as it has her clients. On a personal level, Latoya entered my life at a time when I needed her presence. Through her work, her vulnerable, oh, sorry, I thought you said you can't hear it. Through her work, her vulnerability, and the way she shows up authentically, she has helped me grow more confident in myself and more grounded in who I am as a woman. That authenticity is deeply felt and clearly reflected in her art. Latoya is truly a force to be reckoned with. Her boldness, vulnerability, and gift for empowering women make her work impactful far beyond the camera. She is a powerful presence in this world, and her contribution to Black boudoir photography is both meaningful and necessary. And she is incredibly intentional. She embodies creativity, she is compassionate, and she is so nurturing. They love y'all. I have to say, the people who I would put the effort into telling you about who you are really wrote some amazing and beautiful things. Here are the why. Latoya does more than capture breathtaking boudoir images. She creates a space for healing, self-discovery, and deep self-love. Through her work, she gently guides her clients toward embracing who they are, honoring their truth, and letting go of apology for simply existing as themselves. She has a rare gift for seeing the light within others, even when they may struggle to see it in themselves. Her photographs reveal more than outer beauty. They awaken the soul, offering a calm, grounding that reminds us of our worth and our place in the world. Latoya brings a living, centering energy to our session. I felt safe, and it showed in the photos. What she brings is more than just images. It's a mirrored reflection of the best parts of me. She brings that out. Latoya has been a gem to the upstate by creating an unconventional and intimate space for women and loved ones to experience a new level of intimacy that's not common in the area with Greenville Boudoir. Latoya extends beyond photography by also curating a space for women and local artists and entrepreneurs to connect through social events and to build community. She's not just about taking photos. She building community, and the photos are telling a part of the story. I don't know if she's in here. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead. And up next we have, is this the face of boudoir? And I know she's in here. Katrina Cross-Daniels from Detroit, Michigan. I love that picture of you, by the way. What are people saying? She is very professional. She is patient, the best. She is outstanding. She is one of the best boudoir photographers that I have encountered. She knows her clients, and her expertise in her field is outstanding. She makes you feel as beautiful as you are. She deserves to win this award. I wish her all the best. And she had to make it known because she got like 5 exclamations in this. So she needed everybody to know that she was excited. Love that she created a campaign to empower women through Boudoir and I Am Worthy campaign. Katrina makes you feel comfortable. Katrina has a way to bring you, okay, y'all, I'm just going to say I copied and pasted this. If you hear me put in words, that's why I'm putting in words. Katrina has a way to bring you, to put out your shyness and make you relax and enjoy your body. Katrina, the floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much. This is a great honor that you are doing this, because as we all know, we don't get celebrated like this. Being in our community. So I definitely appreciate it. I will piggyback off of something like Nicole said, like stepping into this journey of boudoir. It's kind of like I always wanted to do boudoir. And I actually did a session many years ago, but it didn't really kick off until after experiencing your own traumas, your own things that happen in life. And I know my mother is on here, but as a little girl, I just never felt, pretty and all of that. And I just had it in my childhood. I think I blossomed as I got older, and I was, kind of thankful and blessed to fall into a marriage that I felt that in the marriage that I was respected and I felt pretty and all of that until I didn't. And he's never said anything like out of line to me, but what would happen is we would be other places seeing other people, and it was just the side comments that I don't think he realized that was happening. If you see a woman walking down the street and you be like, ooh, why she got on them shorts and her big old thighs? And I'm like, my thighs look just like that, So it made you be self-conscious, like that. So I would say from there, and then ending up into a divorce after 25 years of marriage, it just brought back all of that childhood trauma that I think I experienced as a kid. And so I was like, oh, is it my thighs? Is it this? Is it that? So I started like depicting myself, like tearing myself apart on what caused this. And being able to dive into boudoir and have my own boudoir experience, which is like this photo right here. And I wouldn't have never done anything like that, prior to like many years ago. And to have that photo that's not even that bad, like me, like I'm still fully dressed, to be told, oh, now you're doing naked photos, So it was like, So my goal and my mission was to help change the narrative of boudoir photography. A lot of people, when they hear the name and hear the word, you automatically assume that is nasty, raunchy, dirty, naked photos for some people. And so I wanted to make sure that I showed them a difference. Like, it's more empowering, it's more classy. I'm here to help celebrate and uplift women. And I've been doing that exactly, like with my I Am Worthy campaign. So I like that women, I like that expression and just seeing how they experience this type of session. So it's beautiful. It's a whole lot more I can say, but I know, okay, we on time and everything. So, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. We're gonna give y'all time to have a discussion. So I just wanted to make sure that you had your time to speak before that. But you definitely, because I want everyone to hear about your campaign for sure.
All right, thank you.
Now, I know that Rhea is not here because she actually has a session, but I still want to honor her, and she'll be joining us later. And this is Rhea Rouse from Atlanta, Georgia, and this is the face of boudoir. What people are saying about her: she is phenomenal. She has her boudoir as a labor of love. She is beautiful. She is a confidence booster. Okay, so I have cheered. I love how this person started this because it's like you're having a conversation. Okay, so I have cheered Maria Rouse on every step of the way. I watched her build Boudoir by Rhea brick by brick, and believe me, her work is a labor of love. I'm keeping this honest, so for a long time, I was hesitant to ever step in front of her camera myself. I am, and forever will be dedicated hype man, keeping this raw and honest. I didn't realize how much of myself I had lost after my divorce. I kept moving forward, doing the things and what needed to be done without recognizing how disconnected I had become from the woman I once was. When I finally let her do her thing, trusting the process, wow. Maria poured into me. She created a space where I felt safe, seen, and supported, and she challenged me to push and establish new boundaries. This was beyond best friend, and I don't know what to call it. Through her craft, she captured a woman I had forgotten. The confidence, the softness, the subtle sexy, the strength, and the beauty that was almost familiar. I cried. I loved me. It was enough. I was enough. It really only takes a spark, and I have been ablaze ever since. So from experience, Maria doesn't just take photographs. She gives women the opportunity to connect with themselves and see who they still are and who they are becoming. That is why I am proud to nominate Maria Rouse as a top Black Boudoir photographer of 2026. Rhea is absolutely phenomenal. The way having a session with her literally lifted me out of a space. I was nervous before going and usually would be nervous in a setting like that, but her direction and her energy made me feel like we were two homegirls taking pictures of each other, except way better. She captured me in ways I never even knew was possible for me to look that way, look the way she was able to get. Sorry, y'all, hold on. Hooked on phonics. She was able to get the natural angles of my body and make me look like a walking piece of art. Is undoubtedly one of the best feelings and confidence boosters I've ever had. I would go to her time and time again. She is incredible at what she does. Maria not only takes amazing pictures, but she builds true bonds with her clients. She makes us all feel safe and allows us the space to feel vulnerable, to be able to see the beauty we forgot we had. She goes avarice and beyond. Okay, new word for me. Throughout the whole process, being sure to make us feel like more than a business deal, paying an invoice. Rhea has been a pivotal person in my life since I turned 30. She pushes her clients to be confident in our skin and in who we are as an individual. But not only that, she does an amazing job at capturing it too. I am a forever client of Rhea's budget just for my annual shoot. Ooh, girl, that took a lot out of me this time. All right. So this I want to open up to not only our nominated honorees, but I also want to talk about this because a lot of times I know we don't get the space to be together. And I know we have a lot of boudoir photographers in this space. So I felt like these 8 questions are questions that are important to us as we talk about what community is, because I'm all about community and collaboration over competition. And so I want to start with this question for just the honorees right now, and then we'll get into number 2. But for number 1, what does it feel like to be recognized by your community?
I can go. I think for me it feels amazing to just have the community support you. We do a lot of work out here trying to create this space of boudoir, because a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of jobs, church families, like a lot of people just don't understand it. And so trying to still prove a point that it's a need is important. So I think to have the community rally behind you and support you, it feels great to me.
Oh, Nicole, you want to go?
Just to piggyback on. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you go. Go ahead, Brianne.
Okay. You sure? Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, for me, it feels so good because I still have imposter syndrome, and I'm 6 years into this thing, and I literally am self-taught. So when I am recognized by the community as a whole, I'm like, oh, I must be really good at this thing. And I don't always feel that way. And I am intentional about everything that I do when I'm creating, and for it to be noticed by others and by people that I've admired, that just makes me feel like I'm on top of the world and that I am actually capable of doing good things and doing good things for others. So it really is just a beautiful thing.
I personally feel like, one, I also get imposter syndrome, and I have, in some capacity, shape, or form, learned from all of the other nominees here, or have either been photographed by some of them, or just like been in complete awe by the work that they all put in. So for me to kind of, one, get to talk to people who I admire, whose work I think is phenomenal, and then to be a part of like the same conversations that they're in. Like there's sometimes where I'm like, somebody knows my name. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But I truly admire everybody who is on this call as a boudoir photographer, and the work that they are putting in for the community, because I've been on like this little tirade recently for Black women representation across boudoir, and just being able to show diversity, because to me it means something. Like that's how I was introduced to boudoir. I was noticing that there was a need for women who look like me, and I get phone calls every single day with women who are like, I didn't know that this was for us. I haven't seen women who look like me, whether it's the skin tone color or it is the body shape. So I feel like our work is important, and I feel like our work definitely needs to be encouraged and flourished on every single level. And so just to have your people recognize that and have people who love your work, that literally means so much to me. And it's why I started doing this. So I really appreciate that.
I feel the same when it comes to this work. I think, hold on, let me take myself off so I won't look like a talking O. I feel the same when it comes to this work, because the reason why this started was the same reason that we are talking about. I didn't see us, and it was a slap in the face knowing that the work and the bodies that a lot of our counterparts want to look like are our bodies. And so to not see us and in a group of 10,000 photographers, and there are no Black, not even just Black, like any speck of color, when it came to people who were doing the education, didn't make sense to me. And it didn't make sense to me because I know how hard a lot of us have been taught to work in order to be able to show up and in order to say, you know, I am going to do as much work as possible so that way people can see my work, and to not get the same recognition is definitely important, which is a conversation we can definitely have offline as well. But I understand that we also have to acknowledge ourselves, and we also have to stand up for ourselves, and we also have to recognize each other, because that is also important. And even when I am tired, even when I'm like, you got to do a little bit more to let people know what's happening, I still want to be able to say, even if no one else sees you, your community sees you. Your community sees you putting in the work. Your community sees you standing up for us. It sees the work that you're putting in, so that way we can see our cousins, our grandmas, as Brianne is saying later down the line. We can see our mothers. We can see our people. And for me, it's not just about just showing up. It's about how am I showing up in the space of what does it look like for Black womanhood, which is something that we've never been able to express fully. And so in this point, and this movement, I'm like, it is not just images, it is our legacy. And so I love that you all are creating not just your legacy in boudoir, but also your legacy for other Black women to see themselves in a way that they want to, because that's their version of what their sensual or sexy narrative is. So thank you for that. This question is, how do you define your work as a boudoir photographer? And this question can be for anyone who's on the call, because I know that we have other boudoir photographers here, but I think it's important for us to say, what is it that we're doing and how do we define it? So I'm going to be in the chat. So if anyone wants to put in the chat, I can read it out loud as well.
I can start it. I would say for me, how I describe my boudoir photography is more of a transformational boudoir photographer. That I just kind of specialize in the empowerment and confidence building for the women, to make sure that they can see themselves as I see them, as they need to be seen, so they can walk away and they can feel worthy, you know, of themselves. So I would say more of a transformational. That's the word I hear a lot with me and my clients. So that's what I would say.
Here for it. Who wants to go next, y'all? This is popcorn.
Oh, I'll jump in. It's funny. I think when I'm defining, it depends on who I'm speaking to. Because if I'm speaking to a man, I'm just like, I can't explain to you how I'm empowering women. Like, sure, I can if you're actually interested, but I feel like they're not. So some of them know, but then I'm just like, oh, sexy photos, because that's the only way I can get you out of my face. But for women, I'm usually like, it's just like Katrina said, it's a transformative experience. And I make sure that I set the stage that it's a one-stop shop of you just showing up and putting all of your faith and trust in me for a couple of hours. And I promise you're going to walk out feeling so much better and happier with yourself. And I always tell them the confidence is going to come after the shoot. It might not happen during or beforehand. If it does, great. But I'm here to hold your hand every step of the way. And the person that you're looking at in the mirror is not necessarily what's true. So here, look at what you look like through my eyes. And sometimes it takes a stranger to tell you how you actually look, because your friends are going to pick on all the things that you might not necessarily love about yourself or the obvious things that are there. So I always tell them that this is something that I'm seeing. These are, I don't know you. I'm a stranger. I want you to see you how I see you. And that usually just kind of clicks. And, that's what it is.
I know that Latoya just joined, so I'm gonna give her an opportunity to go ahead and talk before I get into number 2.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, love.
Congratulations to everybody, too. Yes, congratulations to everybody here as well. Apologize for being on like super CP time, but I'm here. Okay. Number 2 is what we're on, correct, Nicole?
I mean, I can answer it to give you a moment to kind of get your bearings.
Oh, no, that's okay. I can hop right in. I don't wanna slow us down the momentum. How do I define my work as a boudoir photographer? I've recently started to define my particular work as photo rituals for transformation. That is one of the common threads that I see in why clients come to see me, is that they're going through a transition or they are getting ready and preparing for a transition. So the photo session is more or less a ritual in kind of helping them to see themselves in the process of that transition, and also how they want to see themselves on the other side of it, which they typically have a good idea of what that is from an empowerment lens. But even outside of that, even if they haven't yet articulated like what they want to see on the other side, they know what they don't want to go back to, right? Staying small, shrinking, people pleasing, putting everybody else before themselves, or not, or feeling negatively about their body, or even just not wanting to feel a way about their body at all. They just want to be. And so I think framing it as a ritual also makes it more meaningful and sacred, as opposed to just a photo shoot. And yeah, I'm grateful to do this work, and I'm sure everyone here has a version of that that they've felt and experienced in your own work too. But I love to honor that space as ritual.
Okay, so I asked my girl chat because I could not articulate what I was trying to say. I was like, what? I don't know. But chat gave me something that I actually really do like. And it's that I create transformational experiences for high functioning women who have mastered everything in their lives except how they see themselves. And I was like, very right on point, because that's my girl. So it's really, we are reconstructing how they feel about their bodies, how they see themselves, and creating their confidence through the boudoir experience. So that's, I think, how I want to define my work as a boudoir photographer. Chat be knowing you sometimes,
No, that was good. I mean, that high functional part, I think, is a lot of especially Black women can get to that.
Gonna take you. You gotta be careful.
What'd you say, Britt?
I said I don't like chat knowing you that well, Nicole. You gotta.
I know.
Robots go get us.
So chat doesn't know me personally that well, but definitely knows my business and my business clients that well. So I try to separate and keep that, like, you don't need to know me personally, but you need to know my business because you're my silent business partner. So I'm glad that she knows enough about my business to be able to frame what is the definition of my business. And I love it because it's true.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way that it phrased it.
Yeah.
That was good. This is a question that I ask myself sometimes often. Do you consider yourself a photographer or an artist? And why? If you want to put the why on there. And this can go to any of the photographers, anybody who's on the call as well.
Yeah, anybody who non-nominated want to go with it first before we start?
Oh, you want us to answer these questions too?
You can. This is an open space. So the reason why I wanted it to be open is because I knew a lot of other photographers were going to be here. Shout out to Katrina for getting herself together, for coming in with the look, but I think that it's important for us to have these conversations when we are together. I'm just seeing, Brianne, I just saw what you just put in, so thank you.
I usually go.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Latoya.
Okay, thank you. I usually kind of alternate between like artist and business person. Photographer is just kind of like inherent because mastery with with the art of photography. But sometimes my brain, I feel like I switch between like artist and business person or businesswoman. When I'm with the client, I'm more the artist. I definitely have a way of taking time to slow down, not really get so analytical about how the session's going to go. I just kind of read the room, read the vibe, and just kind of like flow naturally that way and intuitively. But when I'm not in studio, when I don't have a camera in hand, when a client is not in front of me, I'm definitely more so thinking about everything as a business owner and how I can improve the business side. And even in session too, sometimes, like if something didn't feel like it was seamlessly like flowing, like I will take the time to just like, okay, like what could I do better next time? But in the moment, I'm not really thinking about, is it perfect? Is it good? It just is. And everybody's always happy at the end of it, right? Like no one knows when you mess up, or no one knows when you don't have the perfect flow according to yourself and your own standards. And I think it's beautiful that we get to like move in and out of those spaces, especially through the artist lens, because that's where we can really be the most creative and allow our soul and our spirit to come through and leave what we want to leave with the client. I feel like that comes more through us as artists.
And I would agree. I was going to say out of the two, more so artists. I think as a photographer, because nowadays everybody calls themselves a photographer. Everybody's a photographer right now. And I think as a photographer, because there's so many different rounds of it, and you may not know everything as a photographer, but as an artist, I feel like that's what what I'm doing, particularly for my clients, is creating art for them. So I would say in the boudoir world of photography, for me, I would probably say more of an artist than a photographer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like as I'm shooting and walking clients through the experience, even that, like I don't feel like I'm necessarily talking to them about like as a photographer. I feel like that's almost secondary. I'm walking you through like, okay, this is how your body's going to move. This is how the light is going to come. And I might not verbalize all of that because of course in my brain I'm like, all right, this is my canvas. Here is my paintbrush. We're just going to be getting to work. So that's literally how I visualize when I'm doing shots. I'm like, oh, or they make a sudden movement and I'm like, oh, wait, don't move. And that's the excitement that I get. And I feel like that is intrinsic. When you're excited about what you're creating, that's when the artist comes through, because it's just your talent, your passion and everything is just oozing out of you. And that to me is art. When you're putting pen to paper or camera to client, that literally is putting it all to work.
And I want to give space to Ria because she just came in. and let her get situated. If she wants to answer, we are on question number 3. But while you read that, I'm just going to go into the chat and read what some people have already said. Yes, I feel like that is the thing that made me realize I'm an artist, the way that people view and feel through our work. And I see myself as an artist who uses photography as one of my many instruments, because a photographer captures what is, but being an artist decides what it means through telling a visual story. And Rhea, I don't know if you want to weigh in on this. Do you consider yourself a photographer or an artist, or both? Uh-oh. What's she at?
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry. I was
Why, the way you just said okay was the exact same way that someone who nominated you started they was like, okay. And I was like, yes.
Oh, yes. We can, yes. Hey everyone. First I want to say, sorry I'm late. I already had a client event scheduled for today. They're in there now. So if you hear like music and stuff, we're at like a sensual dance class. So I wanted to make sure I popped on and said, hey everybody. But yeah, I definitely consider myself an artist more than a photographer, just a photographer. I guess I don't want to say just a photographer, but like I feel like I've always just looked at people as art. Like I've always just seen the beauty in my friends when they don't see it, the beauty in my family members when they don't see it. So when I was younger, I always wanted to be like a painter or something, but I can't paint for nothing. And then when I took my first photography class, in high school, I realized, oh, okay, I can capture people. I can paint with light. So yes, I consider myself an artist. Sorry, I am so hot. I'm not even like, I am dying.
You are fine. You
I'm
look good. I love the hair.
Yeah, thank you. Curly me hair. Y'all get some. Mm-hmm.
I love us. Let me just say that. Every lifetime, this is it. But number 4, I think is really important to us, especially when even Kat says being storytellers, visual storytellers. Tell us about a client that changed your perspective. And I think that's important when we talk about storytelling, because I have just a plethora of stories on things that have changed who I am as a person based on my clients that I've had. So whoever wants to start, Katrina, you want to start? Because you be ready.
Yeah, I'll start. I would say one of the clients, like you say, it's plenty of clients, right? But one that really stands out to me, and she's actually on my YouTube that I need to push some more. But she did one of my series with me. And when she explained to me her why behind, it was part of her why. It made it even more special. She's 50-something years old. She's never taken, not even boudoir, portraits her whole adult life. Because as a kid, because remember I say kid, that trauma from when you were a kid, she was told from her family members as a little girl how ugly she was. And it stuck with her. All she remembers is that saying when people say, don't get Tara in the photos, she gonna break your camera. And she says that. And that's what she remembered. And now I don't know the story behind the family member, how serious they was or whatever, but that's what she held on to from a little girl. So taking that into her whole adult life and never taking photos and being able to come into a session with me, and she just literally cried. She, talking about the experience, she's sharing it, on my YouTube, how emotional that was for her to see herself in this light, because she's never basically saw herself until she got in front of my camera. And in her opinion, she felt like it wouldn't have happened unless it was me. Like, of course she shot with me, so that's all she know. But just to hear her have that moment and that experience, I was like, okay, I am doing something right, regardless to what people think or how some people don't understand boudoir and all of that. What we doing is very impactful and transformational and all of that. So that would be the client that really changed my perspective for me to finally understand that this is more of a need than just doing something.
Thank you for sharing that, because I couldn't even imagine. Who would like to go?
I'll go next. The client for me that changed my perspective is actually now a close friend of mine. She came to me, trigger warning, sexual assault. But she came to me after she was sexually assaulted. This like several months afterwards, and I don't know if she disclosed that when she booked with me or not. But I do remember throughout the session us like going into detail about why this was so important for her. And at that time I was still very early on in my boudoir career. So for me at the time, I was definitely I saw myself more as photographer. And so after that session with her and seeing like why it was important for her to do this particular type of session after something so very traumatic, to help her reclaim her sexuality, to reclaim her body and her agency over her body, it blew my mind to even see that this type of experience could be so powerful and impactful for someone after, going through something like that. Like I could not imagine. And so of course, I did my best to show up in the way that I knew how to just hold the space and to just take the photos, which were beautiful. They were so beautiful and Black. Like she had these long, like hot pink braids down to her ass. And, I think at the time she had 2 children. So she was also just celebrating her body as a mom. And there's just so many things that she was just allowing herself to just relish in. And so I feel like that was definitely the client that changed my perspective, and which is now why I see these as rituals, because there's so many things that go on. Like Katrina was saying, like, her client who had in the back of her mind that inner voice that was just being so negative. Like these rituals are so important for us to just reaffirm our clients in, to not only change our perspectives, but to change theirs so that they have a new story going forward.
Thank you for sharing. Ria, the floor is yours.
Okay, so the client who changed my perspective, she came in when she was trying to rebuild her life. So she was trying to rebuild all parts of herself, including her sensual part. I'm not gonna cry. Her story always makes me cry. She had just got out of an abusive relationship with a narcissist, a drunk who had her 2 sons in the car and she lost one. And at the time, she was still, I guess, in the abuse mind state. So she was nursing him back to health, even though she had lost her child. And she had finally got the strength to leave. And also, but of course, he was going to jail. And she just said, I just want to find all pieces of me. And we did her shoot and it was amazing. And I remember looking out the window and I could see her like walking out, and she just had a different walk. Like it wasn't the same walk that she came in with. It was totally different. And I was like, oh, okay. It's super important. This is this is really important. It's not that I hadn't had clients before who had told me stories, but it was just something about how she left that made me be like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this.
Thank you for sharing that.
My story, gosh, all these stories, they're just beautiful, sad, some of them very sad and heartbreaking, but so beautiful. I had a client, and she was my first transgender client, and she was 67 years old. Finally just had surgery, still married to the same woman that she had married 30 years prior. Of course, their relationship had changed, but she said, you know, when I spoke to my wife, she was supportive, but of course, our physical relationship had ended, and I no longer felt physically wanted or sexy, especially in this body that she had always wanted, so she could feel like herself. And she's also in a very male dominated field, so she was not really feeling admired in the space that she was in. So it was really beautiful to see and walk her through the whole experience. I'll never forget, we did a shot where she was sitting at my vanity and looking at herself in the mirror. And she said, this was the face that I always wanted to look back at me since I was 5 years old. And it was absolutely one of the most touching experiences ever. I'll never forget it. I still see her pop up on my Facebook page, and she's walking with her grandchildren, and you could tell she just feels more confident because she finally feels at peace with the skin that she is in now after all of these years. And that will always sit with me. My husband works in tandem with her every once in a while, so our paths do cross, and I just look back on our time together, and I'm just always amazed that there's never a time limit to come into your own. And I'm just so happy that she was able to finally come to that conclusion and feel at peace with who she is. And I was just happy to be a part of that journey.
Thank you. And I'm writing down what you just said, because there is never a time limit to come into your own. You can put that on a t-shirt.
That was a good one. I don't remember, but yeah, I'll put it on a t-shirt.
I'm waiting for the transcript. Everybody has said a couple of gems, and I'm like, clocking all of that. Need this. Play it back, because my memory is, I've been drinking. So, but I didn't want to share a story, but I did want to say I appreciate hearing every single one of your stories, because like the care that you all have for your clients, even in just telling their story, is so impactful and brings me to tears. Thank God I have like a tissue next to me, because that is so reflective in every single one of your work, all the time. And I'm glad that you all are being recognized for that. But just keep that in the back of your mind on the days where you're like, holy crap, nobody's booked, or like nobody has called me, or like things just seem like super slow, because what you're doing really does matter to the people who it needs to matter to. And those people will continue to come and seek out your services and pay whatever it is that they need to pay, because they need that experience. And they need that reminder every single day just to get them through whatever it is that they're going through.
And Britt said, all of y'all are so passionate, and why y'all deserve this and more. You are truly something amazing and an inspiration to so many of us. And I will say, I have two stories that come to mind, but I have one. Right before I closed my studio, I wanted to do just something different, because one of my close friends had gifted me these big ass fans that were ostrich feathers. And so I put out a call to do it, and this person came. She had a bald head. She had tattoos everywhere, tattoos on her head, tattoos on her arms, tattoos everywhere. And she said to me that she was a corrections officer. And she's like, I've always had to look like this. This was a part of me every day for the last 30 years. And right before I came here, I was in the car, and she said, I knew I wasn't going to make it. She's like, I knew, like, literally, if I didn't come to this today, I was going to trigger on self-harm. And so we sat for like an hour and just sat and just spoke and just talked. And I talked to her about who she was outside of her work, because 30 years she had just been doing this and saw the worst of the worst, dealt with the worst of the worst. And she was like, I retired and now I don't know what to do. And I don't know why I don't know what to do, but I know that my children are old enough to take care of themselves. And so I don't feel like I'm needed anymore. And so this for me was something where if I didn't do this today, then I wanted to do something that I knew I would never do, and I would be brave, or I was just going to do what she said she was going to do. So we had a conversation, and I was like, I'm just so glad that you are here. And she was like, and the song that came on was, I think it was like a Donna Summer song, something like that. She was like, she asked for a sign, and that song came on. And I think it was like, I'm coming out. Don't get me on my music theology, because I don't know if that's the song or not. But she was like, that song came on, and I was about to call you. And when that song came on, I knew that that was the sign I was asking for. And so I just decided to come, and I decided to do it. And she was like, I would never have done this, but I'm so glad I did, because I don't feel beautiful, because I felt like this was what I had to do in order to survive in that space. And I didn't understand what softness was. And so we did her shoot nude, because she was like, I just want to see myself as soft and just with those big ass feathers. And that was her level of softness. And so I thought that in and of itself, with closing the space, but having that be my last shoot, was for me, like, I may take a break for now, but later on I might come back. And I am going to go to...
Wait, I just want to pop in real quick.
Of
Y'all, I
course.
have to go back to my clients, but I want to thank y'all so much. And I love y'all, and y'all are amazing.
Thank you for popping in. You'll
Hi,
have the
Rhea.
video. So you'll have it, and you'll see me trying to do Hooked on Phonics when you watch it.
Have a great
Cool.
session.
All right, bye.
So this question I think is important, especially for those of you who are moving into education as well, or in education. But what do you want your legacy in the boudoir industry to be? Y'all take your
Yes, I've
time.
been kicking it off. Let me what do I want my legacy in the industry to be? For me, I would want my legacy to be that I did exactly what I wanted to do, is help women see how beautiful they are, and that I'm also helping other creatives in the space, like, who are interested in, like, learning about boudoir. I talk a lot when I do my educational classes, that I don't just talk straight about boudoir, but I talk about getting the client prepped and ready for that, and talk about safe zones and space, and making sure that the client feels protected and safe within your space. So I would say the community aspect of it, and making sure that I continue to make the clients feel that their transformations actually happened.
I love that, Katrina. Yeah, it's important to see it through, right? Like, it's definitely for a lot of people a milestone for them, and we treat it as such, not just on the day of. I want my legacy to be I want my legacy to be for clients, not only just clients, but anyone who any woman, any person who identifies as a woman and femmes. I want us to just honor the cycles of becoming. um it Anytime we are in the space, right, like we are trying to figure out, get our bearings, who we are, who we used to be, who we want to be, it's always, there's like this liminal space, this in between, that feels really foreign, uncertain, and sometimes unstable. And that's exactly how it feels when clients come into the studio. Like, you're excited, but you don't really know what to expect, even though you've been prepped. um, Mentally, your body still has to get on board with what's about to happen. Your nervous system has to settle in enough to really receive the medicine that you offer. So for me, I want all of us to just get comfortable with the process of becoming, get comfortable with the process of being uncomfortable in the middle, as we take our steps forward. Each frame we capture is a step forward. Each time we affirm our clients is a step forward. And I want all of those pieces that we infuse into our sessions, I want that for them to be able to take that home with them and be able to affirm themselves, step by step, transition through transition, and just to see it as something that we can just repeat over and over and over again until kingdom come, right? Because someone mentioned before, like we're always in like a constant state of evolution. And I think because of that, when I think about legacy, like I'm also a process engineer by trade, like before I was a photographer. And so I always think about, like, how do I improve this process? And for me, it's like I just have to learn how to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, but also how do I talk myself through this process and know that it's okay not to always know, it's okay to not always be okay. And sometimes we figure out the answers in the middle of that journey in becoming. So, a long-winded way of saying I want my legacy to be just walking through one foot in front of the other, even if we don't know what the outcome is going to be, but just allowing ourselves to just be present through all that.
So for me, this really goes back to why I started my business in the first place, and goes back to, like, I guess you can say it's my mission statement or my business pillars, but these are like the three core things as to why I do what I do. And those things are basically free yourself, reclaim your worthiness, and destroying impossible comparisons. So I really want my legacy to be that I give women a space and permission to stop performing and just to exist, where they don't have to do it all and you don't have to hold everything in one place. Like, this life is not for you to shrink to fit into somebody else's mold. It's not for you to conform when we are all individuals, and you need to show up and show out however you feel you need to do that. And then reclaiming your worthiness is basically grounded in, like, a lot of women have this belief that for whatever reason, they don't feel like they deserve something, whether it be their looks, whether it be how they feel about certain things, sexuality wise or sensuality wise, or whatever other compartment that they want to have. So another one of my business pillars is to remind the clients that I do have that you are never unworthy to begin with. The things that you think that you lack or are not there, that's not your perception. Like, I want you to walk out of a session with me, between like the prep work that we do and then the actual session, I want them to feel like their self-perception and their self-worth, it is deserving of every single good thing that happens to them. It's not just a temporary feeling. It is for them every single day for the rest of their lives. And then the impossible comparison, it's really like a lot of my clients grew up, or were older millennials, a lot of my clients. So, or Gen X. So we saw America's Next Top Model when it was in the original version, when it was first coming out. Or I like to jokingly say, like, who's been personally victimized by America's Next Top Model? And I have been one of those. Or like Vogue or any of the other magazines that tells people that you are supposed to be a certain size, you're supposed to be a certain shape. You can't have a stomach because that means that you're X, Y, and Z, or you can't do anything else. Like, I want my clients to redefine what it means for them to mean sexy, or what it means for them to be sensual, or whatever adjectives they want to use to describe themselves. I recently had one client who said that she was using her session as a lust letter to herself. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. Like, why can't you lust after yourself? Why can't you define what it means to create lust and desire for yourself? So that's what my business is about, and what I strive to do in all aspects related to my business. And hopefully that is also the legacy and the imprint that I leave on this industry as well. Sorry if that was long-winded though.
That last part, I wrote that down. Because that was good. I would never have thought of writing a lust letter to yourself. That's just
me neither. And don't steal that, because that is like a campaign that I'm secretly running, and I'm just putting it all together. So it's not trademarked, but I will know where you got it from.
I put your name at the bottom.
Okay, that's fine.
For me, I want my legacy to be representation. I really want it to be rooted in representation and truth. I want to be known as someone who caters to all backgrounds, all sizes, all skin tones. I want everybody to see themselves reflected in this industry, because we are not all reflected in this industry. I can't tell you how many times I have calls with clients, whether they're Black, white, Asian, and they say, I only see skinny white people reflected, and I'm choosing you because I see someone who has a body like me, who has a face like me, has eyes like me. Every single thing that I do when it comes to sharing my work, I want people to be like, yes, I see me. And that's how it should be. I think that should be an industry standard. So that is the body of work that I want to leave behind. Not necessarily my work, but I definitely want to put a stamp on the industry to share that with photographers, so we can change the status quo. We can change what beauty is, because we are all different. That's what makes humanity great. We are all beautiful in all of our iterations. And I think making that a pillar of your business, my business, art in general is incredibly important. And that is something that I am very, very passionate about. And I hope when people look back or think of me when I am long gone, they're going to be like, yes, I know that that's what Brianne stood for.
I love that so much. Y'all really just blow me away. This next question is just, if you could capture anyone in a boudoir experience, who would it be? You don't have to say why. You could just say.
I have a list.
Okay, roll it down.
My girl's Rihanna.
I was going to say Cardi B, because I feel like that would be super fun. But Rihanna is a good one too. I also feel like Eartha Kitt would be amazing.
Yes.
Super amazing. You know
Well,
who
me-
else?
Oh, go
Patty.
ahead. Go ahead. Nicole. Go ahead. You said who else?
Patty LaBelle. I feel like she would eat it up. And the fact that we would have different wigs in every single outfit. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And shoes.
Mm.
She changes her shoes
Yes,
and her
and
wigs.
shoes. Yes,
She
that was
does.
amazing.
I'm gonna go in a slightly different direction. And it would probably never happen. Now she's doing all these hearts for y'all. I would say my mother, who's on this call. And maybe after her hearing my world and hearing from you all how important and empowering and special this is, maybe she will consider. Because I try to tell people also that boudoir is not just about being naked. Like, you don't have to not have clothes on. It's about a feeling and just feeling seen and safe, and the empowerment part of it. So to me, it really doesn't even matter what you have on. It's about more of the experience. Look at her talking. What? Like, wow.
I'm laughing. Can I just say something to your mom, Miss Cross? Let me just tell you, I shot my grandmother for her 90th birthday, and she wore a beautiful red robe, and she wore a cute little, it was a slip dress, but it literally was, I think she cut it out of a dress. It was literally like a white shift dress. And then she wore a beautiful purple, like almost like a muumuu. It was gorgeous though. And that to this day is one of my favorite photo shoots I've ever done. For me, it was rewarding because she was always been, ever since I was a little girl, super supportive of me being an artist, paid for me to go to art school when I was little and everything. So it was really nice to give it back to her. And you should let your daughter shoot you, because I think that would mean the world to her. And it does. And Nana was not wearing lingerie. Okay. She got a new wig and got her makeup done. She looked great. Okay.
Yes. So that would be my answer. So we'll see. I keep y'all posted.
So Katrina, I was gonna say my mom as well. I'm still gonna say my mother, but for different reasons, for a slightly different reason. So my mom is still not very supportive of my work as a boudoir photographer, which is rooted in a lot of, religious shame. And I understand the pathology behind it, and also am still prayerful and hopeful that one day she will see what it truly is. I have photographed her before, just in, professional headshots and things like that. But I think this kind of answers the next question, is would it heal any part of me? It would definitely heal a huge part of me to be able to photograph my mom. I'm actually at her home now. The kids and I are here for the tail end of their spring break. We spent time with my parents and my uncle today and this weekend. So it's been, I think for me, just being present as the woman in my family who is liberating myself from a lot of these things that we have, kind of held as like things to hold us back, or to just not be as expressive in. And I feel like I'm kind of like one of the first in our family to do that. The more conversations that I have with my grandmother, the more I see like she desired that as well. But her role as a first lady, she had to choose, the ministry. And so for me, capturing my mother would definitely be someone who I would want to hold through a ritual, through sacred space, through boudoir. My grandmother too. I photographed my grandmother. She's actually come to some events of mine that I've held at my studio. So that was healing in and of itself. And I would say outside of that, I don't know, Megan Thee Stallion, like I stand her. Like, yeah. she's on Broadway right now. I feel like I need to like go see her on Broadway, but she would definitely be someone who I would love to kiki with in the studio. She's also a fellow Aquarius, so yes, I would enjoy that very much.
Me too. I'm an Aquarius too. That's why we weird. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You know, I was thinking I went to another space. I was thinking about like the men who I would actually like to do boudoir with and who I would shoot. I was thinking definitely Michael, because I think that he would bring a level of like I think he's like a very funny person. So I feel like he would give you, I'm going to be sexy, but then I'm also going to get into like, I am this, like if he would bring smoke and stack to it, I'll be like, yep, give me both of them. I could do both. I could see that as that. And then I would probably also say, definitely Meg, definitely Eartha Kitt, because Eartha Kitt was a whole, she was just everything. And then I had one other person, but again, brain fog, let that just go out of my mind. But I think that would be like my top two people who I would definitely want to shoot. Um, Hold on, somebody else said, oh, somebody said Michael the librarian. You know what? He do have some really nice hair. He do. I could see like him doing something with that in the
I
picture.
listen to Michael the librarian all the time. I be watching Reading Rainbow. So when you said Michael, that's where my head went first. And I was like, what's she talking about sexy? I'm like, I never thought of him as sexy. I guess he could do it if he wanted to, but
He can go in the forest and he could be like a wood nymph or something. I don't know. It could be
I'm like,
real.
I was thinking more like a smolder. Like
He could be sexy with that. He could definitely do that. And well, we already talked about it. Has boudoir healed any part of you? And Latoya gave her answer already, so you ain't even got to go there.
So I'm gonna piggyback and say, remember that story about that man who told me all the things that I did wrong, including loading the dishwasher wrong. Boudoir has healed multiple parts of me, and I also feel like it's helped me become a better person in general. Because one, I know what I want as far as my personal desires, what I'm looking for in a partner, how to articulate that in a partnership, and also what I want for myself and how I talk to myself. So I feel like all the things that I'm asking my clients to do, whether it be like say affirmations or look at myself nicer in the mirror, that's been because of the boudoir work that I do. And also it's just in general helped me understand how to have empathy for people and how to help other people through situations that frankly I didn't know existed, but they need support for. So there are so many autoimmune diseases. There are so many different traumas that people experience. There are so many different things that people are healing from, and you have to meet them where they are. And you have to be able to talk to them and empathize and also help guide them through this emotional and very vulnerable state in a way that recognizes their autonomy and their agency over their body, but also allows them to just have space to do whatever it is that they need to do, whether that be laugh, cry, yell. You know, I have music playing, so sometimes I'm like, girl, you better sing and act like nobody is in this room other than you. So just do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do, and to be able to give somebody space to do that is something that I didn't know that I needed, but I also feel like my clients didn't know that they needed as well.
I can go. I would say it has some parts. I'm not like totally healed with boudoir. I feel like the parts that did heal was me feeling like that, oh, you're not beautiful, you're not pretty, type that feeling that I had as a kid. I think that part is more so healed than I still deal with some body areas that I'm still not fully like embraced. It's still a work in progress for me. But I think that helps me understand still like how my clients are feeling. Like I keep telling them, it may not happen overnight, for you, but you still will definitely feel better throughout this session. Like I still love this photo of me over here. And I love the experience I had during my session. I still can feel the way I left that session from the time I walked into that session. And being a photographer myself, walking into another photographer's space, I was scared. I was nervous. I was shy. I didn't know how I was going to feel. She was like, do this, do that. And I trusted her. So I did whatever she asked. I was trusting that the fact that they're going to turn out nice. So that makes me, handle my clients that way to make sure that they trust me. So even though you're not totally healed, I think that trust is important. So yeah, I would say it has healed some parts and I still have some things I'm working on.
Give me 1 second. One of my kids is coming to talk to me. Sorry. Oh, you're not talking to me? Oh, okay. Sorry. I sorry. I agree. I feel like it's healed some parts, but not all. I feel like I take a little piece from everyone. From the moms. I'm feeling like I understand a lot of their struggles that they're going through. I understand not having the time or the energy to juggle it all, or the feeling of not being enough for everyone when you need to be. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned is that I am worthy. I am meant and deserve love. I'm meant to give love. And so when I see them finally letting their guard down and letting in a stranger, I think I'm more prone to do that. I'm a little bit more trusting because of them. I spent a lot of times growing up with a chip on my shoulder because the people that I was supposed to trust, I couldn't. And so I always had my guard up. Even with my husband, it took him a long time to break down my walls. And so doing boudoir and having them come to us in such a vulnerable situation has really taught me the patience of waiting for them to give me a sign that they are ready to let me in. And I feel like that's what I have learned the most, being able to let people in and trust them and take them for their word. Now, do they always do that? No. Or do they disappoint? Yes. But I think I handle it better now than I did when I was a child. And so you take little tidbits of the lessons that you learn from your clients, and I just hold them near and dear to my heart. But has it healed everything? No, I think it's given me a little bit more, or a lot more confidence. I think of myself when I first started, and all those things that I was so stressed about, my body, my face, my skin, any of those things. And now I feel like I've definitely learned to just let it go more, or not harp on it, especially now my daughter's 13 and the things that she is picking up on. And I don't speak to myself in an unkind way, especially in front of her, because I can remember listening to my mother say things about herself and, taking that in. So I'm always hyper aware of how I speak about myself, but she's still, I think it's just society still getting into her head, and me doing this, I'm like mortified. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, you are beautiful. You have to learn to love yourself. I'm like, you are special. And I try and highlight the reasons and the things that make her special. And I find myself saying a lot of those things to my clients too. So just learning a lot more patience, that is definitely how I have healed, and learning how to trust more.
Thank y'all for just being vulnerable enough to have these conversations, because each person had a different version of what that looks like for them. So I thank you. And then even in the comments we have, it's certainly helping me to understand how to treat people better. And then honestly, it's healing me currently. It's shown me where I need to grow and how I show up, and that what I do actually does matter and makes a difference. It's literally they pour into me as I'm pouring into them. And I would say the same thing for myself. I think my first boudoir experience was 2017, where I was in front of the camera. And that definitely changed how I felt about myself, because I got those images printed very large and put in my bedroom. And then when it came to my second session with Celeste, it really just showed me a different level of how I wanted to look and what that meant to me. And that also changed in, I would say, in my 30s. That was a major step of just showing up as what version of Alicia I was, because I had gotten a divorce, and being with someone for so long, from 18 to 30, I didn't really know what that looked like. And so being able to then have that space to show up and say, this is my version of sexy, which has changed a lot, was something that I felt like boudoir allowed me to do in a way that was safe. And this number 8 is, what is your advice for other boudoir photographers? We can also switch this into, what do you have going on now that we need to know about to support you as well? Because I know, I think Rhea and Brianne have something coming up next
Yeah.
month.
Yes, I am teaching a workshop with the Peculiar Collective, doing a mini boudoir shoot or workshop. We're going to be doing posing, a little editing and shooting, all of that stuff. I'm really excited. I'm always just so honored when people reach out to me, because I feel like I'm still a little old nobody. So it's really nice to be recognized, and I really hope we get some more people in there. And I know it's like it's going to be, they're going to have a photo walk. There's going to be some other classes going on, which is really exciting. So I'm pumped.
I'm gonna
So-
hop right in here because I know y'all heard that too. I see Sheena said, miss somebody. My advice would be to own it, own your brilliance. Brianne, you are brilliant. You are amazing. You're here, for crying out loud. You, like Jesse Jackson would say, you are somebody. I am somebody. You are somebody. And I would tell that to a lot of other boudoir photographers too, because a lot of them feel, or I've noticed that some feel like they have to, I don't know, be in the game for such and such a time, or amass a few accolades before you are that girl, you are him, you are her. No, you step into that lane, you own it. Just like we tell our clients to step in front of these lenses and own that shit. Own it. Own it. You have all of the evidence around you that supports how brilliant, how amazing, how talented, and how necessary you are. So just own it, like own it for real. You are so much more incredible, impactful, and like I said, necessary. Necessary is the word that keeps coming up for me. You're so much more necessary than you can even imagine. And especially because I know we are like in so many different parts of the country, maybe even the world. I'm not sure who else is on this call. Like the fact that we show up is radical and revolutionary, and just the fact that we take up space and doing the work that we do is worthy of a standing ovation. So yes, own your brilliance, own your work, own the impact that you have, because it is there whether people say it to your face or not. I think that's just part of the work of doing anything, is learning how to validate yourself through your own experience. But just know, for especially anyone who's watching this or who's on here now, like, you are already that girl, that person, him, her, whatever pronouns you use, you are that.
Yes, I would say the same for you all. But I also can agree with her. Sometimes we don't feel like that. So thank you, Latoya, for saying that, because I think we need to hear it, because sometimes we just don't think we're doing enough, or that we are doing anything really. Because sometimes sometimes I work in chaos. Like I'm doing 50,000 things. I'm all over the place. I feel like some things are not complete. When I just was on a call the other day, a Zoom call with a group of people, and I was saying, you know what? Let's write out our accomplishments instead of like the to-do list, like what all had we accomplished, because when I look at it that way, I see it like, oh, I did do this, and that. But on a day-to-day, sometimes I don't feel like that. So I would say, like, some of my advice is taking that advice for myself, and for other photographers too. I would like to mention about not just focusing on the images versus the experience that you're providing to your clients. A lot of times people hop into boudoir, or they think they want to hop into it because they're so used to just seeing the IG models, IG pages, and they think that that's what it is. And I'm like, no, it's a whole different ball game than just a pretty picture of a model on IG, you know, of what we're doing for women, everyday women, our business women, our mothers, you know, for boudoir. So I would say focus more on the experience versus that photo. And the other advice I would like to give to them is make sure you get into it, if you're not doing it now, of printing your work. Those beautiful images that we are creating for these clients, it would be nice for them to see them on the walls. You know, you go through that beautiful experience, and then it's like it live into a digital world, and you never get to see it the way we wanted you to see it. So that would be my advice: the printing, using it as an experience, and then taking that advice as if own your stuff. Like, we know we are doing amazing things, and rather we think we haven't arrived, you know, you arrived. So own it.
Sorry if I cut in front of you, Brianne, but one of the things that I just wanted to piggyback on, because Katrina mentioned it, is to create an experience for your clients. I really think it's important for you to experience a session, whether it's a boudoir session, whether it's a branding session, whatever. I feel like you need to get in front of the camera as well. I've made it a point where, like, on a yearly basis, I get a boudoir session. Not only has that helped me understand what it is to be a client, and to see what other people's processes are, but like to experience the nervousness, to experience like, okay, I know my eyes are closed, but I know that the photographer somewhere. Where are they? They want me to look where? What? Where are you? So that part has helped me say, okay, I need to be intentional when I'm talking or what I'm doing with that person, to let them know where I am, to let them know what I'm doing, to all of that. So I really think that is important, and to also pay what your clients pay, like not to cheap out and just do like a cheap session. Like literally, if you're expecting your clients to pay you $2,000-$3,000, you pay somebody $2,000-$3,000. So you can understand, like, if you got to be on a payment plan, be on a payment plan. So, you know, look, Sheena just said, speak for yourself, I'm broke. I'm saying you ain't got to do it right now, but there are photographers where you can get on a payment plan. So you can plan it out in the same way. I put myself on a payment plan with photographers, you know? So anything that you are trying to do to create an experience for your clients, you should experience for that yourself. And same thing with creating like a space for everybody to be included. RJ is in here. I'm gonna put him on blast because I can, and I've been drinking. So he sent me a message. He was like, "Is this only for women? Like, is it okay that I'm in here?" Yes, it's okay that you're in here. Like, I don't know about everybody else, but I want people to be welcome. I want men to feel like, you know, that they can come and that they can be a part of this. I want everybody who is interested in working with me to feel like they are a part of the process. And with that, like, I have to be welcoming. I have to be inclusive. I have to be open to people who look different than me, or who might talk differently than me, or might have a different experience than me. It's definitely helped me grow. And just putting yourself in different situations, I feel like that will also help you be a good boudoir photographer, but also a good business person. And oh my God, that is my next point. Please, please, please learn how to run a business, because that, like, when I first started, I was like, no, my friend Latasha, she tried to tell me, you need to like change your back end, you need to do all this. I was like, no, we're just gonna go off of vibes. Like, we're gonna do things, and you know, whoever wants to have a session, that's who's gonna have the session. Yeah, well, vibes will get you put out of business real quick, or it'll just make it a hobby. Like, if you want to make some real money, you got to learn how to run a business and be a business woman or businessman or business person first, and then photographer second, or artist second. And like, that's the thing I feel like I'm paying catch up on every single day. And I'm going through the Hard Knocks Academy of Business every single day, because I'm learning so much. But if I had to do this all over again, I would have started figuring out how to run a successful business and then worked on my craft as a photographer.
I agree with what everybody said. Honestly, I think that each and everything that you all said is extremely important. I think the other thing that also is something that took me a while to get to is community, especially when it comes to how you're showing up. When I decided to start this, I was in a really small community. It was about 5 of us, and we had a group chat. And so every time someone was doing something, if we wanted to change pricing, if we had questions about, you know, a client, because a lot of people we saw in other groups would put their gripes with their clients in the actual group instead of just having a separate group chat. And so that was a part of, you know, for me, a stepping stone as a photographer who's been a photographer for a minute, to have that space to be with other people who were really vested in, like, maybe this ain't gonna work because you did it like this, try this instead. And that really helped with, one, being a lot more professional, but also being a lot more comfortable with charging what I was worth at that time. And then also being able to be like, you know, I'm thinking about this. I don't know if it's going to work, but what do y'all think? And also having the discernment to know who you should do that with, because that's going to be important as well. It's okay to be in a community, but also knowing if these people really want you to succeed and how that is going to go about, and having those guardrails in place to be like, yeah, we can have these conversations because I trust you and I know that whatever we say is going to stay in this space. So I definitely think that is important, based on everything that is happening. Yes, Boudoir Content Day. And so this is happening on May 16th. We just had one on February 21st. And Nicole was there. I'm trying to think who else was there that's in here right now. I don't think anybody
else.
Yeah, I think it's just us.
RJ was there. RJ was there.
Oh, yeah, RJ was there. Yes, talk about community. Oh, he left. Okay, yeah.
Oh, because I was going to call him out on his amateur boudoir.
Yeah, he did amazing.
Yeah, he was asking questions and everything. He low-key was into it.
He did a really, really good job. And if you want to see the video, there is a video. You can go to the website. It's on the website that shows you the video that he took. I edited it because the music was a lot. But if you want to see the video, it's definitely on the website. You can see how we had this space. One thing that I am very big on when we have these type of event days is collaboration over competition. That is something that is extremely important to make sure everyone gets what they need at their level of how they need it. And so with our next one on the 16th, we will have 2 people who you'll be able to shoot individually, and then also they will come together as a couple. So you'll have that space. We did have 5 tickets. I think we now have 4. So shout out to Sheena because Sheena got that first one. But if you want to come, again, this is the 16th. As always, and I always say this, if money is a factor where you're like, I want to come, but send me an email. Don't DM me, please. Send me an email because this is for community. So scan the QR code. I've been putting it in a group. I need to do better with putting shit in the group, but this is coming up. And then last but not least, we do have a sponsor. What's McCall always say? I always say Evado wrong, but I'm gonna just say Evado.
Come on, Evado! Woo!
Voto.
That's how I pronounce that. And
Listen, they done
Hey,
paid
Voto.
me, and I be putting them videos up. They ain't say nothing yet, so I'm gonna keep it moving. But just thank you. I want to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for celebrating these amazing photographers. Thank you for this conversation. It was extremely important for us to come together to talk about, like, of course, we have different views on what we are willing to do, but the main point is that we are going to support each other. That is always going to be something that we will stand behind with each other. Is no matter how you show up, as long as you may not know you know what stuff, we're going to support you. But if you want credits and you are not one of our honorees, even if you are one of our honorees, you can do that QR code and you will be getting credits. I can't remember how many they are. I apologize in advance. But for my honorees, I'm reaching out to you to get your email for Evado, so that way you can also get the credits that they are providing. So shout out to them and thank them because they definitely do come through for us when we do things. And I hope that this inspired you if you are a boudoir photographer, or if not, if you want to get in front of someone's lens. And then also just continuing this work of expanding what this looks like for us. So shout out to y'all. Anybody want to say any last things before we head off?
Great conversation.
Alicia.
Thank you. Thank you for this.
I have something. I would love to take some time out to really, really, really show my gratitude and appreciation for Alicia for putting all of this together. I am sure it is not easy to go through however many people have submitted forms, to read all of those forms, to read the ones that people probably didn't write proper English for, to go ahead and organize that in some way, shape, or form, to get all of this together seamlessly, whether it was last year or this year. Thank you so much for the work that you have put into making sure that we are celebrated in a beautiful way. So I know that you took your time out to make sure that everybody got their flowers, but I feel like it's only fair and right that we give you the flowers to keeping all of this together, because you don't have to. I know you got your own things that are going on and you choose to do this every single time. So it is not work that goes unnoticed and unappreciated. So I just wanted to give you a moment and say thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Welcome.
Yeah. All right.
What Nicole said. Exactly what Nicole said.
I had to look and see how Toya sent the flowers. I was like, oh, okay, I just figured it out. Okay. Now I can send some flowers too. But we all appreciate you. We know I've seen you personally myself do this work for many years. And I'm sure everybody else has as well. So you are truly appreciated and a true trooper for our industry, period.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, listen, I tell you, I'm always not everybody. The peculiar know that I always say that I'm down for some of y'all, not everybody, but I definitely just want to make sure that, you know, I don't want y'all to do the classes that I had to do to get on stage. That's never been my priority. I wanted to do that so you wouldn't have to. And so I'm hoping that within that space, you know, taking a break now, moving forward to push to be like, you need to have these people because they exist and they are important just as much as anybody else on that stage. So thank you all for that. And we will definitely be talking offline for the next steps of what you all want to see to create things that help us get recognition that you definitely deserve.